Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Steam Prison, and we finished all of Finn's endings and whatnot in the last part, and today we're going to start going down the extra stories, because we got all of our endings, right? Yeah, we did. Okay, just to make sure. So we have after stories and short stories, so. Grand ending story. Elk Creed over. This is actually the order we did it in. So I guess we'll go in order. And I guess we'll do maybe, well, I want to see something. Gallery. There's one for each. So we'll see. That banging is like driving me bonkers. If the my only thing is it would be nice, like, okay, we do Elk Creed stories, and if it's like 30 minutes, okay, perfect. Like, then we do, like, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 parts left. Cool, they'll be shorter, but, you know, this way we can then just, but I don't know, like, we'll see. We'll start with Elk Creed and we'll see where it goes. Elk's after story. Oh. Wow. I'm assuming that's his point of view. No protagonist sprite. Hero point of view with protagonist sprite. Protagonist point of view. Oh my god, we're gonna have to go and do this twice. I suppose we should do it. If we do his point of view, we should have our sprite in there. It's cool that they'd let you choose and like, nah, I don't want to see her. I want to, but we already seen her. She's in the thing. So I think it'd be easier when we're doing the whole thing. I'm assuming, okay, so we have to read this like freaking Elk Creed. Let me get my Elk Creed voice on. I don't think I can read the whole story in his point of view but whatever. A few months had passed since Liberalitas had allied with the hounds. I had to go out even more often than I used to. Most of the time I visited the hound's office that had been built in Liberalitas. It wasn't far from my home, easily within walking range. Taking my bodyguard along was a matter of my mood. And that particular day I didn't expect the talks to last long, so Spacey was guarding the house. I made the right call leaving her at home. A light sparkled in the rain as I walked. I personally liked getting drenched by the rain, but she probably didn't. I doubt she could empathize with why I enjoyed it. It's so beautiful. It was a moment in time, fleeting and irreplaceable, and the lights of the city glittered in the rain against their own backdrop. Lavender's blue, lavender's green. When I'm a knight, you shall be queen. I'd have liked to sing, but alas, I was a poor singer and knew it. I am the same way, Elk Creed. Thank you for not... I was like, I'm not singing this. Like, instead of a song, I whispered my favorite poem on the way home. Oh, they're closed. The flower store was shut. Evidently, I hadn't made it there before closing time. I even took a detour to buy her flowers, and now they're closed. Oh well. I brushed back my hair and looked up. Back to my sweet home, then. Home, sweet home. Elk! Ah, it feels nice to know someone's waiting at home. And not that nobody had been waiting for me before she had arrived. It just felt different when it was someone I loved. I wonder if you were thinking about me the whole time you were waiting. We'll find out when we do her point of view. Or our point of view. And even if it had been just out of worry and not love, I was happy I might have her heart unto myself. Here I am. I'm sorry I came back so late. She walked up to me with a towel in hand. Here, you must need it. Oh, are we finally ready? Huh? What? I was like,
How are you taking a towel? I thought he was like talking about sex for a second. I'm like, how are you taking a towel like this? No, marriage. Okay, well, sure. What?
Don't they give a towel to the opposite sex when they propose marriage in the Heights?
What?
I'm so happy about this. I gratefully accept, and I hope we'll be happy together, Spacey.
I missed him so much. He's so fucking bonkers.
There is no such custom. Oh, well, too bad. Apologies.
Don't make fun of me.
Anyone would want to make fun of you for not wanting to marry me.
Yeah, right? Okay, this better not be like the CG that they give you, because we had this one. I want a new one.
We're in a relationship now, but she doesn't seem to want to get married. Not that my feelings are any less intense just because she doesn't want to marry me, but the irritation makes me want to tease her. The horror! Why won't you marry me? Am I not more than perfect?
Fuck, he's so into himself, but I love him so much.
I really am. I'm tall, smart, richer than rich, and influential. I shrink in awe at my own accomplishments. My beloved knight, worry not about my marriageable attributes. You are all I truly love, and for thee I would forsake all my titles and lands. I glanced furtively at Spacey. She's creeped out. If I had been talking to Ulrich, he would have reacted by insulting my intelligence, and that would have been a better outcome. But Spacey, maybe her brain wasn't keeping up. In these situations, she always became tense. Damn it. If I kiss her now, she'll feel like I'm still making fun of her. I could still have done that, but I was losing enthusiasm. Hoping to improve the situation, I pushed the urge from my mind. Well, using limited-use items to show love is bad luck anyway. Don't take any of what I said seriously. Thank you for the towel.
Sure. You're welcome.
Spacey looked down for a moment before raising her eyes again.
You didn't have an umbrella.
No. I was thinking of buying one on the way home, but I didn't.
Why?
I put my glasses into my pocket and used the towel to dry my cheeks. I like the rain.
You got wet on purpose? That's what you do when you take a shower.
Yes. Seeing the streetlights reflected in the rain was very beautiful. The rain was sparkling like diamonds. It wouldn't have been the same with an umbrella.
What if you catch a cold? Is it worth it?
If I do catch a cold, he'll nurse me back to health. I don't see the problem.
I do because... Hey!
I handed her back the towel and went to the couch.
You have to dry your hair too, otherwise...
It'll be fine, or I'll be fine. I don't normally catch cold. I put my bag on the table and pulled out some documents. I still have some work to do before tomorrow.
Surely there's time enough to dry your hair and put on dry clothes. Okay, that's the thing. Like, oh, we're getting wet. It's the wet clothes. And, like, that is the part that I hate about getting wet. Like, if you were in the rain, it's the wet clothes. I don't like wet clothes. It's not the getting wet. You're like, oh, you're soaked. And then all of a sudden you're in and you're like, oh, God, no, wet pants. Ugh. And everything, wet clothes touching your body is just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And now he's just like, I got wet in the rain. And he's just, oh my God. Seriously, change your clothes.
She came up behind me.
If you won't do it, then I will.
Oh my. I appreciate the kindness. Knowing I wouldn't be able to focus on my work anyway, I put the documents on the table and leaned back. This takes me back.
To where?
My mother used to dry my hair like this when I got it drenched in the rain as a kid. It made me happy. I think that's the reason I started not using umbrellas. And not that she's still here.
She was born in the Heights, wasn't she?
Yes. My father met her in the sanctuary district. She was a criminal, of course.
This is kind of interesting. We get to actually hear the... I mean, you kind of knew, oh, my mother was from the Heights, but then it's like, yeah, but that right when he's like, when she was like, your mother was from the Heights, right? I'm like, that brings up a good point, which we never connected in the first. Your mother was from the Heights. He met her in the sanctuary district. Okay, well, that answers that question that just magically appeared.
She'd been working in a jeweler's shop in the Heights, and they exiled her for fraud.
Fraud?
Yes. And do you know what fluorescent stones are?
Stones that glow in the dark, right?
Yes, and they're quite common in the Heights. Only as artificial stones, of course.
Artificial?
Imitations of natural stones made using technology. And not just fluorescent stones. Most of the jewels in the Heights are artificial.
But
are you surprised? It's the truth. How else would you get more minerals? The entire country is on artificial ground, and there are no mines.
yeah, how would you get gemstones in a place that you can't Duh.
Only the big shots in the temple and the jewelers know the truth. My mother was one of the few who knew. She sold cheap artificial stones for a lot of money, claiming they were real. In the end, the guilt became too much for her, and she asked her superiors to announce the stones were artificial. She wanted the marketing to pivot from claiming they were real to emphasizing the amazing technology that produced them, but
It didn't work out?
no. The temple had too much of a stake in it. Her superiors ratted her out, and they pinned a crime on her she didn't commit.
I'm gonna be on. I have tons of lab-created fucking gemstones. Like, when I'm by myself, like, I mean, I haven't bought, like, real, fancy, quote-unquote, fancy jewelry in a while, but I would buy the cocktail rings. Like, I don't want, like, here's this itty-bitty, teeny, tiny little real sapphire and it's delicate. I'm not like that. I want the honkin', like, this shit looks like that fucking, like, you dug that up from the Titanic. Like, that kind of, I actually have a ring that's, like, giant like that, but it's a pink sapphire, not blue, but it's a heart and everything with the diamonds around it. But it's like, that's what I want. Like, I want the big honkin' like cocktail fucking fancy ass rings. So you get lab created stones instead of tens of thousands of dollars. Or hey, oh, it's included and it looks crap. They look the same fucking composition. It's just it wasn't naturally minted and it costs a fraction of the price, but it looks nice as fuck. Like, there's nothing really like I don't know. I don't see the big deal because it's kind of like. Again, they're cocktail rings. Oh, I want a big fancy honkin' ring just for funsies. Well, I'm not going to spend like, well, here you go. This is like $10,000. Here's my $200 cocktail ring. Shove it up your ass. Like, I like them. I do have rings that are real diamonds, but they're like small, like tiny little ones put in like fancy things, you know? Or like I have a skull ring that's like a diamonds. It's not huge, but it's like, because they're itty bitty teeny tiny little diamonds that make it up instead of one big one. You know what I mean? It was still relatively cheap, you know? Not like, I don't wear them that often, but that was like a thing I did for a while. It was like, I'm going to collect these. The only one I never got was an amethyst. It's the only one I don't have. I have sapphires, I have a ruby, I have an emerald. I have a real tanzanite, but again, it's small. Like, and I'm just never been about like fancy, delicate jewelry. I like funky, fun, costume kind of jewelry. So of course I was gonna get like funky cocktail rings, not like anyway. Lab created stones. There's nothing wrong with them. They're like freaking amazing and they look great. So anyway,
she stopped moving as she listened, and she must be depressed now. I considered apologizing to her when she sat down next to me and folded up the towel. She thought about something for a while before looking at me. Why do you like the Heights, Elk? What do you mean? I put my glasses back on and looked at Spacey. I've heard a lot of reasons why you like the Heights. There's truth to all of them. But it's still the place which turned your mother into a criminal. So why... I pondered it. You've been attacked before. Does that make you hate the entirety of the human race? Well, it's the same. And knowing who did it would make me sad, but it wouldn't make me hate everyone in the Heights. And besides, if they hadn't exiled her for that, I wouldn't exist. You're the same in a way. I am? And Spacey gave me a confused look. You were also exiled unjustly. But if they hadn't done so, we wouldn't have met. Our relationship is a side effect of that injustice. It's proof that the light of hope can be found in the darkest of times. The light of hope? Yes. I was depressed when I was removed as the representative, but here I am again, reinstated. Even a change of perspective can make the despair go away.
You're so strong, Elk.
Not really. I told you I was very depressed. You remembered what I looked like. But I wanted to pull through. And as a man, I have to look good in front of the woman I love.
Well, use an umbrella then. Coming home drenched looks pitiful.
Oh my. Well, my sincere apology.
Elk?
No. One sneeze doesn't make a cold. I just feel cold. More than my hair became wet. Would you wipe down my body too? Oh, more than my hair became wet. Would you wipe down my body too?
I can't do sexy Elk Green.
That reaction. Excellent. And knowing there was a lot of room to have fun there, I loosened my necktie and looked at Spacey. See how wet my chest is? It's positively drenched. What a shameless sight.
Such a whore. This is getting weird,
she said with a strained voice, glowered at me and pulled away. That's not going to work on me. If anything, it fans my flames.
You should take a bath to warm yourself up then.
True. I wanted to finish work first, but you have the right of it.
Well then... Is this our CG? He's sopping wet with his shirt open. Good lord.
Oh, what's wrong?
What are you doing? Why are you taking off your clothes?
I'm going to take a bath.
Do that in the bathroom.
Why are you getting so worked up? You've seen this before.
Really? Really? We have? We missed that? You didn't give us that? We just have to imagine that? Like I haven't imagined that a million times. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't, but... In private? Aren't you embarrassed?
Not in front of you. In fact, I want you to see me. So I should... I wrapped her in my arms.
Elle!
Yes? What is it?
You're getting my clothes wet too.
Oh, sorry. Well, let's take a bath together then.
I love this man. I'll pass. Shut up and take a bath with this man.
Why? You're already quite wet. And give your body to me like you want to.
No.
She tried to break out of my embrace. She might be a better sword fighter, but she doesn't have the power for this. And don't be shy. We're in a relationship.
No bodyguard takes a bath with their employer.
We are that too, yes. All right, I'll bite. I whispered into her ear. What if there's an assassin in the bathroom? You'll have to stay close to me.
I'm not letting them get into the bath. I've taken precautions.
And there are more ways to get in than the windows and the doors. Maybe they've opened a hole in the wall.
Well, like how we're even entertaining him instead of being like, stop it.
They can do that. We have the technology here in Liberalitas. Come on, Spacey, and take a bath with me and let us share the warmth.
Elt.
Sorry. Seeing you so distressed is too much fun. I'll give up on taking a bath with you, but I will need you afterwards.
For?
I think you know what. I lifted her chin and gave her a light kiss. Until later, then. Let's have some fun tonight. The kiss was too fleeting to leave a lasting taste. Still, her confused expression when I left was enough for me. She was more intoxicating than any drink could ever be.
Oh my god, we're doing that again, but from our perspective. A few months had passed since Liberalitas had allied with the Hounds. Elt had to go out even more than he used to. I mean, the conversation's going to be the same, but you're going to see, like, her thoughts about everything, so... The rain isn't letting up. The residence was quiet except for the incessant sound of rain. It had been coming down since morning. Elt's late. He told me he would be, so that was no surprise. He went out without a bodyguard. It was peaceful outside, but I still thought he was being careless. The clock's minute and hour hands were soon going to both point straight up. The more I thought about Elk, the more worried I became. What'll I do if he isn't back by tomorrow?
Home sweet home.
It's him! Elk! And plus we get to stare at his sprite again! So much better.
Here I am. I'm sorry I came back so late.
He's back. I rushed to his side, towel in hand. He's quite wet. I'd made the right decision with the towel, I decided, and offered it to him. Here, you must need it.
Oh, are we finally ready?
He looked at me with a burning gaze, and I froze. Huh?
Don't they give a towel to the opposite sex when they propose marriage in the Heights?
What?
I'm so happy about this. I gratefully accept, and I hope we'll be happy together, Spacey.
There is no such custom.
Oh, well, too bad. Apologies.
Elk is unbelievable. He was as free as the wind, I knew. I'd taken him seriously at first, but he was winding me up. Not even Ulrich had gotten entirely used to it. How can I? I always felt like a ship tossed around by the storm. Don't make fun of me!
Anyone would want to make fun of you for not wanting to marry me.
You get to be like right up close to Elkreed again, and I love it. He brushed away my protests, took my hand, and drew close.
And the horror! Why won't you marry me? Am I not more than perfect? I really am. I'm tall, smart, richer than rich, and influential. I shrink in all of my own accomplishments.
I like how he actually looks pained, like, why won't you marry me? Instead of like, but it's Elkreed, you know he's being like fucking, like such a goddamn ham about this. Like, oh, why won't you marry me? Because he's a little bit of a drama queen.
My beloved knight, worry not about my marriageable attributes. They are all I truly love, and for thee I would forsake all my titles and lands.
He rattled all this off faster than I could follow. My mind rebelled and I gave up.
Well, using limited-use items to show love is bad luck anyway. I don't take any of what I said seriously. And thank you for the towel.
He took the towel from my hands and stepped back. Sure, you're welcome. I relaxed, finally understanding something he did. His entire body is wet. You didn't have an umbrella.
No, I was thinking about buying one on the way home, but I didn't.
Why? He put his glasses into his pocket and wiped his cheeks with the towel.
I like the rain.
You got wet on purpose?
Yes. Seeing the streetlights reflected in the rain was very beautiful. And the rain was sparkling like diamonds. It wouldn't have been the same with an umbrella.
What if you catch a cold? Is it worth it?
If I do catch a cold, you'll nurse me back to health. I don't see the problem.
I do because... Hey! He threw the towel back to me and went over to the couch. He's still wet. You have to dry your hair too, otherwise...
I'll be fine. I don't normally catch a cold.
He put his bag on the table and pulled out some documents.
I still have some work to do before tomorrow.
Surely there's enough time... Surely there's time enough to dry your hair. I walked up behind him. If you won't do it, then I will.
Oh my, I appreciate the kindness.
I guessed he had accepted he wouldn't be able to work. I'll put the documents on the table and lean back.
This takes me back.
To where?
My mother used to dry my hair like this when I got it drenched in the rain as a kid. It made me happy. I think that's the reason I started not using umbrellas. And not that she's still here.
She was born in the Heights, wasn't she?
Yes. My father met her in the sanctuary district. She was a criminal, of course. She'd been working in a jeweler's shop in the Heights, and they exiled her for fraud.
Fraud?
Yes. And do you know what fluorescent stones are?
Stones that glow in the dark, right?
Yes. And they're quite common in the Heights. Only as artificial stones, of course.
Artificial?
Imitations of natural stones made using technology. And not just fluorescent stones. Most of the jewels in the Heights are artificial.
But
Are you surprised? It's the truth. How else would you get more minerals? The entire country's on artificial ground, and there are no mines. Only the big shots in the temple and the jewelers know the truth. And my mother was one of the few who knew. As she sold cheap, artificial stones for a lot of money, claiming they were real. In the end, the guilt became too much for her, and she asked her superiors to announce the stones were artificial.
Like, how would you tell? There's no way you would ever find out the truth. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm going to go down to the depths and find a gemologist and be like, check this shit. You know what I mean? And like somebody like, oh, okay, I'm raised to think I'm using these stones. Okay, I think they're... You wouldn't know unless you were in on it. You know what I mean? But like, let's just say like, oh, you're just an average person and you love looking at stones. You wouldn't know that they were fake.
She wanted the marketing to pivot from claiming they were real to emphasizing the amazing technology that produced them, but
it didn't work out?
No, the temple had too much of a stake in it. Her superiors ratted her out, and they pinned a crime on her she didn't commit.
That's so unfair. I'd never met his parents. I knew they had died long ago, but I didn't know his mother had been a criminal. She'd wanted truth and justice, and they had pinned a crime on her instead. And he still... I had a question in that case. I finished drying his hair, folded the towel, and sat down next to him to ask my question. Why do you like the heights, Elk?
What do you mean?
Elk put his glasses back on and looked at me. I was relieved to see no hint of resistance in his eyes and continued. I've heard a lot of reasons why you like the heights. There's truth to all of them. But it's still the place which turned your mother into a criminal. So why... Elk pondered this and said nothing for a moment. The rain fell heavily on the building. Eventually he spoke.
You've been attacked before. Does that make you hate the entirety of the human race?
Well...
It's the same. And knowing who did it would make me sad, but it wouldn't make me hate everyone in the Heights. Besides, if they hadn't exiled her for that, I wouldn't exist. And you're the same in a way.
I am?
You were also exiled unjustly, but if they hadn't done so, we wouldn't have met. Our relationship is a side effect of that injustice. It's proof that the light of hope can be found in the darkest of times.
The light of hope?
Yes. I was depressed when I was removed as a representative, but here I am again, reinstated. Even a change of perspective can make the despair go away.
You're so strong, Elk.
Not really. I told you I was very depressed. You remember what I looked like. But I wanted to pull through. And as a man, I have to look good in front of the woman I love.
Well, use an umbrella then. Coming home drenched looks pitiful.
Oh my. Well, my sincere apology...
Elk?
Apology...
Would have been funnier if they put a sneeze so that you knew what was happening.
No. One sneeze doesn't make a cold. I just feel cold. More than my hair became wet. Would you wipe down my body too?
So much fun to do this a second time. It's like literally sounds like he just swept all the papers off the table and you're like, we're on the couch though. He's like,
I know, I just wanted to be dramatic.
Why would you say no to this man? I'd be like, okay. Unless that's part of your game, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, how dare you? Like, but she's like literally like, oh my god, what are you doing? Get the fuck away from me. Like, girl, I'm gonna need you to stop that bullshit. He loosened his necktie and narrowed his eyes at me.
See how wet my chest is? It's positively drenched. What a shameless sight.
This is getting weird. I don't know how this is getting weird. Every moment with Elcrete is a little fucking weird, and that's why I love him so much. I don't know how to keep him from doing what he wants. Go with it. He taught me about love, but it was still a little foreign to me. I wanted to feel elated, but threatened to explode with embarrassment instead. You should take a bath to warm yourself up then?
True. I wanted to finish work first, but you have the right of it.
Well then. Yay, we get the CG.
Oh, what's wrong?
What are you doing? Why are you taking off your clothes?
I'm going to take a bath.
Do that in the bathroom.
Why are you getting so worked up? You've seen this before.
In private? Are you embarrassed?
I'm not in front of you. In fact, I want you to see me. So I should...
Elt wrapped his arms around me. Elt!
Yes? What is it?
You're getting my clothes wet too.
Oh, sorry. Well, let's take a bath together then.
I'll pass.
Why? You're already quite wet. Give your body to me like you want to.
No! I tried to break free. It was hopeless. He was too strong.
Don't be shy. We're in a relationship.
No bodyguard takes a bath with their employer.
We are that too, yes. All right, I'll bite.
He gave me a smug look and whispered into my ear.
What if there's an assassin in the bathroom? You'll have to stay close to me.
I'm not letting them get into the bath. I've taken precautions.
And there are more ways to get in than the windows and the doors. And maybe they've opened a hole in the wall.
Well...
And they can do that. We have the technology here in Liberalitas. Come on, Spacey. Take a bath with me and let us share the warmth.
Elt.
Sorry. Seeing you so distressed is too much fun. I'll give up on taking a bath with you, but I will need you afterward.
For?
I think you know what.
Elt lifted my chin up and gave me a light kiss.
Until later, then. Let's have some fun tonight.
We could have some fun by being in the bath together and then doing that after. I'm just saying! Good God, girl! This man adores you and he's gorgeous and amazing and weird. He's so fucking weird. Enjoy every minute of it. He smiled softly and left the room. What is he going to do? It was better not to think about it, but the images flashed across my mind. Salacious! I put the wet towel on the table and leaned onto the couch. My heart was racing. My cheeks were flushed. What have I done? I'd fallen in love with the madman. I know, but it's what makes him so great! He's so amazing! Okay, we'll do what I said. We'll do all of Elkreed in one part, then we'll do Ulrich added, so we've got 7 parts. I mean, the grand ending story... Oh, okay, so what we'll do with the grand ending story is then we'll do, you know, all of these guys too. So that one might be a little longer, depending on how long these are. You know what I mean? So... Oh! There's so many short stories! We might have to have 2 parts, because the grand ending might take... like... you know, I don't know if there's multiple perspectives. Oh, interesting. So there might be more than that. Okay, you know what I mean? But we're going to do 1 part for each person. I don't know whose perspective this is in. I'll just read it normal. Something broken can never be truly mended. No matter the time invested. No matter the money spent. Some things cannot be changed. People, especially. We grieve for what we've lost when it's gone. We know it's too late, and still we bite our lips. A silent scream that abuses the self. There's nothing else we can do. Elkreed, a voice in the dark. Okay, so this is Elkreed's perspective then. I hate when they do this and you're like, I don't know how to read it, and then it's them, and then there's going to be people talking back and forth, and you don't know who's talking. I hate that. I don't understand why it's a thing. It drives me bonkers, but anyway. Well,
I opened my eyes and saw you. Spacey, my knight.
So now we know they're all his perspectives. Okay, so fine. I'm sorry I interrupted your sleep.
And still, you wake me up. I smiled at her and rose.
It keeps doing like weird shit. Do you see it? Like, it's weird.
living room couch creaked underneath me. Ouch. I shouldn't sleep on the couch. It doesn't give a proper rest.
It doesn't. If you're sleepy, please sleep in your room.
You're right, but... I looked up at the clock. It was the dead of night, and dawn was going to break in a few hours. I thought he would come back if I slept here. He remained silent and sat down next to me.
Ulrich?
Yes, Ulrich. I smiled and looked at my hands. It's rather self-centered, isn't it? I'm the one who killed him.
Oh, Creed.
It's how it is. I shot Ulrich. He told me to when I did it.
So this must be after one of the bad endings. I don't remember that, honestly.
Yes, Ulrich had wanted it. I fulfilled my duty as a Valentine. I knew I had done what had to be done.
Oh, was that when he was actually, like, helping to, like, take down the heights with the other dude? You know what I mean? So, and he was like, it's the only way to, like, was that in that? I can't remember all of the endings because it was a while ago that we played it and I've done so many things between it, but
still, I still can't decide if I did the right thing. He was gone and there was no changing it. The past was indelible. As the days passed, the sense of loss inside me only grew. I wonder if he would be alive now if I had done as you said. He would be, I knew. Whatever he had claimed. I could have made sure he lived. And yet I didn't. I was a Valentine after all. Ulrich wasn't the only one bound by his blood. Many of us are. We both had a weight we carried. A gulf had always existed between us that we had never entirely managed to bridge. We'd made sacrifices, but the large-scale disorder had been avoided. A good outcome. And that had been my position, I told myself.
I don't know who's saying you were foolish.
I had made a mistake. It was inconceivable that I should accept your kindness. I got up so you wouldn't try to console me. I want to enjoy the night air.
Oh, Creed.
It's all right. I'm a gentleman. I won't sleep outside. I smiled and left the room. I didn't have to turn around. I could tell you were watching me leave. A gloomy look on your face.
These don't work really well. You know what I'm noticing? Because, like, there's, like, the weird thing that pops up, and, like, it's just, they're a little odd. Like, the coding's a little off on these.
I made the right decision wearing a cloak. And the garden was dark and timeless, a strong wind passing through the hedges. And the sky was cloudy as always. Nothing ever changes. It's been like this for as long as I can remember. I'd walk here with my father, my mother, and Ulrich. Only I was left now. Everyone else was gone. This can't go on. I have to be strong. I understood this in theory, but I couldn't put it into practice. I functioned well enough to handle my daily tasks. The moralitas remained unaffected. My mind couldn't adapt. It was still trapped in that fateful moment.
See, you know what I mean? Like, it keeps flapping. It's weird. You don't have to be strong.
Spacey, I turned around to see you there. I didn't hear her approach. Perhaps the howling of the wind had masked her coming. No, I was just that distracted. If you had been an assassin, I would be dead. Thank goodness it was you. I'm worthless if I'm weak.
No, every living thing is worth. Nobody is worthless.
He walked up to me. Your steps were without hesitation or fear. You were exactly what I idolized. You're not angry.
Angry?
Yes. I ignored your opinion and slew him with my own hands.
Would you like me to be angry?
I think so. Spite would be easier to face than kindness. There was nobody left who would scold me for my behavior.
Oh, who scolded me for my behavior? Sorry.
The last one had finally disappeared. You were supporting me, Spacey. You were ultimately an outsider. I didn't want to entangle you in our ancient complications.
I'm not angry, but I'm upset.
Upset? You nodded and said yes.
I'm upset that I was powerless, unable to do anything.
Oh, well, I felt the same way.
I will be stronger in the future. Not just in terms of fighting ability, but mentally. I'll be strong enough to tell you when you're wrong. I think I can replace Ulrich.
No. We weren't the same. You were looking into the future. I'm pitiful. We were both suffering, but only I was paralyzed. Ulrich would laugh if he could see me now. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Enough self-pity for the night. I had to leave this place where Ulrich and I had met. I'll do the same. I'll be strong. I walked past her. There's a lot of information in the secret library. And you need...
Oh.
You need help looking through it.
I'm not sure if he's saying that to us or what, vice versa. Like, it sounds more like he's, like, we've been the one looking through the library, you know what I mean?
Ulrich was dead, but he had left history behind. The fairies were gone. The Valentines had to carry their load now. Goodness. If I overwork myself and die, I'm blaming you, Ulrich. I swore to myself I'd complain to him in the afterlife as I looked at the sky. There was no turning back. The world went ever on, and I had to confine him to my memories. One day, Ulrich and I were going to meet again. Goodbye until then.
It's like a sad after story.
I couldn't forget. My 10th birthday.
See how it keeps doing that? It's so bizarre. Little Baby Elk Reed. What's the voice little Baby Elk Reed has?
Father! I walked up to my father when he came out of the bedroom. Mother?
She didn't make it.
He interrupted me with the truth.
His 10th birthday, his mother died? Oh. Poor little Baby Elk Reed, what?
My mother had been unwell for months. She always told me she would recover. But now, I see. The first thing that came out of my mouth was distant, detached. I was devastated. I felt like I was in a free fall, but my father must be suffering even more than me. Everyone had strongly opposed my father's marriage to my mother since she'd been born in the Heights. But they had loved each other. They had vowed to overcome all those difficulties together, and they had married. And now my mother is gone. My father had lost his support. I don't have time to grieve. I had to think about what I could do for my father.
So he's 10! Poor little noble Baby Elk Reed. Oh. Elk Reed, don't push yourself too hard. You can cry if you need to.
My father had been observing my silence and put a gentle hand on my head. Yes. I nodded and didn't shed a single tear.
Sometimes that's how we process things, Elk Reed. We don't cry. And then years later, we just cry for no fucking reason. We just think of memories and then that's when we bawl. Sometimes it takes... Sometimes it just takes a while.
I didn't have to cry. I don't want to cry.
Exactly. You don't want to. You do it when it's the most inopportune times. People are like, why are you crying? I'm just sad about something bad that happened like 10 years ago. And everyone's like, are you what? You're like, look, okay, I didn't process it at the time. I was like, it's okay to cry. Just cry. Get it out. Still gonna cry 10 years later, but you know.
I didn't want to make it harder for him at such a time.
He's so... baby.
Will I be busy today?
I'm not sure. Your mother had no relatives in the depths.
Not many were going to come to mourn her here.
I think only the employees of my bank will come. There might be a lot of them.
I understand. I'll make sure not to bother you.
Thank you. You should go see your mother now.
I will. I opened the door and took a deep breath. I knew the furniture and the paintings. "Hello, Mother." My mother looked like she was sleeping. I could tell she wasn't, however. She didn't answer, nor did she breathe. She would never open her eyes again. She would never call me again. Not ever again. It happened a little too quickly.
I'm assuming... Okay, that was him saying that to her guy.
I knew she wasn't going to answer. Still, I had to talk. "It's my birthday today. You promised me we'd celebrate together. You promised..." Nobody wished me a happy birthday. Neither my father nor my mother.
And that's the worst part, too. You gotta feel that as a father. Like, obviously, like, oh, your mom's dead. But, like, your dad, like, is so stuck in his grief and everything that just happened. Like, that got pushed away. But you realize that at some point he's gonna realize and be like, oh, fuck. Shit. Like, and feel awful. But it's understandable. But it's still awful.
There was no time for it. I knew. I wasn't upset over a few words I missed hearing. I was upset that... My mother died on my birthday and would be remembered on my birthday. Every one of my birthdays would remind my father of her.
I'm assuming this actually sounds more like he's reading this as an adult. Well, but... And that made me sad. Okay, yeah, so that was him reading, like, saying that present tense. Okay, never mind.
You nodded to indicate attention as I spoke haltingly. It had started in the morning. A large number of presents had arrived for me, and you had asked me about it. "It's my birthday," I had tried to say nonchalantly, but you had still caught on. You realized I didn't appreciate the presents and asked me about it. I do appreciate them, but... And the celebration did make me happy. It was a sign of validation and recognition which reinforced my self-respect.
But it's hard. Yeah, you can see a birthday, you're like, yeah! Like, I'm happy and sad.
And it was also the day my mother died. And normally I opened the presents and wrote letters of gratitude. And then I bought my mother flowers and put them on her grave. I'd always spent this day quietly. But now my father's gone as well. I didn't want to disrespect her memory, and there was nobody left who remembered but me. Appearances were irrelevant.
These side stories into, like, Elcreed's brain are, like... It's just, like... You look at him like, oh, he's so happy, nonchalant, and, like, eccentric and crazy and a little bit of a whore, and you're like, you're so full of yourself, but it's like, it's a mask for the pain that's deep inside. Like, look at the... I know that the Ulrich thing is, like, in a different side story, it's in a different, like, universe than the current one, but it's like... He's so, like, dealing with the pain of having killed Ulrich. He's dealing with, like, all this deep tension. He's like, nope, I just put on a mask and I'm happy. And you're like, oh my god, you poor fucking thing. You've suffered through all of this, like, all alone. And you're like, no, everything is fine. He's that dog sitting in the middle of the fire. Like, everything is fine. Everything is not fine, Elcreed. It's okay to break down once in a while. Like, oh my god, you poor thing. Like, we all deal with these things and you put that mask on. I am happy! Like, when you're, like, dead on the inside. Like, but it's just so sad, because, like, human beings are multifaceted and multidimensional, but, like, the characters that we usually get are, like, yeah, they got some depth, but they're not usually as, like, well, they don't have the time to come up with, like, well, here's a 20-year life story of this person. But, you know, so you get kind of, like, an overview, like, here's this character, and yeah, sure, they got little nuances, but... Like, Elcreed, just right on the surface, and we're like, oh my god, he's just so full of himself, and like, whatever. I loved him. But I know there's a lot of, like, Elcreed distaste out there, which I don't get. Like, he's fucking amazing. But then you do this, and you're like, I hope you feel bad for hating Elcreed, I really do. Like, he's so much more than you think he is. Poor 10-year-old little Elcreed is just sitting inside there like, my birthday sucks, man. Your birthday shouldn't suck until you get to be an adult, and then you're like, it's just 1 year closer to death. And that's when it should suck, but when you're 10, you should be like, it's my birthday! Woo! And like, it should be like the greatest fucking day ever. Like, 10 years old, and your birthday started to suck from that point on. Damn. Poor fucking kid. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know who's saying let's have some fun, but... Oh, that was me. Okay. Well, as Elkreed.
Let's have some fun. And Spacey gave me a puzzled look. I only have one birthday per year. Let's have some fun.
All right. Are you sure?
It's my birthday, right? The birthday of the great Elkreed Valentine, blessed with intelligence, power, and looks.
And he does that to like Matt. She's like, yeah, I get it now. It's to mask all your insecurities and sadness deep inside.
When, if not today? I wouldn't even mind celebrating myself every day of the year. I made a great effort to look like the person I had to be. He smiled softly and nodded.
See, that's exactly it. You have to be confident in everything, even though you're like cripplingly sad. I mean, I'm sure he's not like crippling depression or anything, but it's like, but he's got some weights and he's got some stuff, and it's like all that arrogance and like the whatever on the surface. It's just like a mask. Like, I'm sure he is a little fucking narcissistic. I don't think that it's totally an act. I believe he's like, I am amazing. You're like, but I feel like he told himself that for so long that he's like, yeah, no, I am amazing. You're right. But I don't think it started out. It was like that mantra, I am amazing. I am awesome. My mom died on my birthday, but it's totally cool because I'm awesome. I'm fine. You know, like you tell yourself, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And eventually one day you're like, well, I actually am okay. He psyched himself into it. Doesn't mean he's not narcissistic. He just saying. Like, just feel like there's more to him than just being an eccentric weirdo, is all I'm saying. This is rather sudden, so I don't know how elaborate it'll be, but I'm gonna do whatever I can.
Whatever you can. I'm looking forward to that. I took your hand to lead you away. Let's buy my mother flowers now. Afterwards, I'm all yours, Spacey. Let today be the first exciting birthday I've had in 10 years, and I'll spend it with you.
In 10 years. But then you're implying you're only 20, but he's not. He's like 24, so it's been like 14 years. Because his mom, like, didn't he say he was like 24 or something, or 25? Like, we're the 18-year-old. Here we go. Last short story.
The world is so messed up.
Oh, the world is so messed up. Sounds like an Ulrich thing to say. And someone saying, We
were on our way home from a party.
Yep. I'm like, the world is so messed up. I'm like, that doesn't seem. And then I was like, seems like an Ulrich thing. Totally was Ulrich. The world is so messed up.
We were on our way home from a party. I looked at Ulrich in the corner of my eye and said, You don't think the world is messed up?
Oh, wait. Well, wait, so we're saying the world is messed up? That sounded more like an Ulrich thing to say. Wait, what? The world is... So who's... Okay, I'm confused. I looked at Ulrich in the corner of my eye and said, you don't think the world is messed up, using exactly the same intonation.
If even messed up people think that way, it must be well and truly done for.
Not at all. I won't let the work end. This is only the beginning. I'm just so confused as to who... The world is so messed up. Sounds like an Ulrich thing to say. We were on our way home from a party. I looked at Ulrich in the corner of my eye and said, you don't think the world is messed up? Using exactly the same intonation. So it sounds like Elkreed is like saying the world's so messed up. And Ulrich's like, huh? And he's like, you don't think it's messed up? So then, is Ulrich the one saying, if even messed up people think that way, it must be well and truly done for? Because he thinks... I'm just very confused. This is why I hate this bullshit when they do it this way, because you don't know who the fuck is talking. And then it's, like, weird, because it's like, that sounds more like an Ulrich thing to say, but it sounds like it's Elkreed saying it, and I don't know who's saying what now, and I hate it. Like, these drive me crazy. I say this every single time they come up in games. I wish they'd fucking stop doing them like this. Like, I get that you don't want to give us sprites, but, like, you know how, like, the box always has the name? Tell us who's saying it, like, Elkreed, Ulrich, like, whatever. Tell me who's saying it. Just fucking tell me who's saying it. I don't care. But this is fucking a pain in the ass to read and figure out. Like,
So, not at all. I won't let the work end. This is only the beginning. Congratulations, Ulrich. And this is the 1-year anniversary for Liberalitas.
I should be wishing you that. Well, maybe not. But you definitely shouldn't be wishing it to me.
Really?
Yes, you're probably drunk. Did you have too much?
I barely drank today. I have to work tomorrow.
You don't have a rule of not drinking the day before you work.
I don't. But I didn't drink too much, trust me. I can still walk, as you can see.
See? Oh, see?
I said.
Oh.
See? I said. Ran a few meters and spun back around. Ulrich walked up to me and accused me of being childish.
What's messed up about the world?
Everything. This, for example, I said, and pointed at the road.
Okay, so... okay. Now we know, but it just seemed very weird.
Someone as young as me shouldn't be the district representative. And there! I pointed to the darkness we had come from. I shouldn't be running a bank either at my age. And what seals it? I put my hand on my chest and nodded solemnly. Is how incredibly handsome I am. Isn't all of that really messed up?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but your head is definitely messed up at least.
Thank you.
It's not a compliment.
The last part was just a joke.
Just the last part?
Yes. They often tell me how good I look.
Only if you don't open your mouth the whole evening.
Talking with Ulrich is so much fun. My own subordinates were too loyal to ever offer an opinion. And that wasn't bad. It was good. I valued their obedience. However, it wasn't enough on a more personal level. Too boring. Only Ulrich could sate my desire for an equal.
This is so gay, I love it.
You sate my desire for an equal. Shut up! I love you, Ulrich.
Look, I'm just saying, I do gay ship it a little bit. But at the same time, Ulrich, don't touch my man. He's mine. I love him. We can be in a throuple relationship and you guys can make out if you want, I guess. But like, if I wasn't involved, I would totally ship this because it's a train wreck and I want to watch that anime. That's all I'm saying. But I'm involved, so Ulrich, get the fuck away from Elkreed. He's mine. Because Elkreed's my favorite. But I miss them. I miss the two of them so much. Like, just living in the house with the two of them arguing back for... God, I love it.
Alas, that meant tolerating his occasional disappearance into the darkness. At least he generally agreed to talk with me. My most important friend.
Your beauty aside.
I don't mind a temporary change of topic, but we will have to return to that later.
Now, just forget about it. Like the papers you burn.
Anyway, Ulrich said, and ruffled his hair.
It's not messed up that you're the district representative or the head of a bank. You worked hard to become those things.
Did I?
You didn't?
I don't know.
What? How can't you?
I grinned at his exasperation. I inherited the bank, didn't I? And I didn't become the representative for purely selfless reasons. I had to do this to protect you, Ulrich.
Protect me? Sure, whatever.
Ulrich kicked one of the pebbles in the road.
So what's messed up about this?
Maybe it isn't.
What?
Maybe I'm the one who's messed up. Ulrich gave me a look of abject incomprehension. Having blurted this out without context, I apologized and smiled. If I have something I want, I'll plot and scheme to get it. I like thinking about what I'll do when I have it. But when I do have it, I lose interest.
Hold on. Okay, no, it's still him. Okay.
The desire to have it might be very strong, but when I've accomplished what I wanted, I have a duty to maintain it. It's that way with Liberalitas and the bank as well. I can't just leave them to their fates. The passion I felt before I had them disappears. It's gone no matter how hard I look. Am I messed up? The party that evening had been the same. It had been for me, and yet I had felt like someone throwing it. And the main reason I hadn't gotten drunk was that sense of duty.
I think it's pretty normal. Are you hard of hearing? I said it's pretty normal. Normal.
Love is more eventful if it's one-sided. You can be in love with the idea of love more than anything, and the idea of chasing that other person. It's the same thing.
Oh, wait. Was Ulrich saying that? Love is more... Okay, I'm not sure. I would have assumed that sounded more like an Elkreed thing to say, but this is so confusing sometimes.
Ulrich.
Oh. So that was Ulrich saying that. Okay, anyway. I read that in a book the other day.
A book. No first-hand experience.
Nope.
I was shocked to even see him talking about romance.
Because it also, like, does a sentence and then you think the next word, but it's still the same thing, and I wish they just wouldn't put the end quotes and they would just keep it going. Instead of like this, it's supposed to be like, and I pause, but it's like, but you're confusing me when it's a back and forth, and like there's 3 quotes that some one person is saying, and then the other person says one, and then this one goes 5 more for this part, and it's like, it's so fucking confusing. I hate it. It wouldn't be, I think, as obnoxious if I wasn't reading it out loud, but I'm reading it out loud, so it fucks it up. Anyway.
By the way, Ulrich, any experience with romance at all?
Not telling.
I'll take that as a no.
Secret?
It's a no.
Won't tell.
Poor you.
Not poor me. I don't need romance.
It didn't take long to wring it out of him. Romance is beautiful. The world looks rose-colored when you fall in love.
You mean your vision is red? Sounds like a dangerous debilitation. I suggest going to a doctor.
I've been looking for advice originally, but we returned to our usual game. Still, it wasn't so bad. My complaints were neither unusual nor particularly severe. Like dust, too small to get a grasp on. And talking about it made it easier anyway. I'd be able to sleep well that night. Thank you, Ulrich.
For what? I didn't do anything.
For existing, I guess.
Holy shit, that is so creepy. I'm out.
He quickened a step and turned off into an alley, saying he had somewhere to be. And then he was gone. Good night, Ulrich. There was no response, only the sound of the soft wind and the sizzling of the electric lights. I walked onwards, smiling at my own loneliness. Chasing the one you love. I remember doing that as a child. And nowadays, and in light of my status, everyone was chasing me. Whatever I wanted I could have, and it robbed me of an experience. I'm too young to become jaded and lonely. My life hadn't changed for a long time and could hardly be improved. But now I felt I had to rediscover my own passion. Tomorrow's gonna be a long day. And that's when I met you. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. So, I mean, that actually... Whoops, I meant to go back to gallery. There we go. Hide. So yeah, those are perfect. So each one of our boyfriendos, we get like an hour-long part with them and their stories and everything like that. So we got a lot left to do in this. So yeah, we'll do Ulrich next because he's the next in line. And then I'm assuming, I don't know how the grand ending is, if there's multiple perspectives or just us. And if it's actually a short story, if it's going to be long, you know. And then this little other side stories, those might be multiple parts, but at any rate, we have a couple more weeks left. So, it'll drag us into the new year because this is oh wow. So, I mean, I'm obviously recording this in advance, but I hope you had a nice Christmas for those of you that celebrate Christmas. And I guess, well, I will see you later today because we'll have one more part, which will be Ulrich's. But just in case I forget recording that part, you know, I hope you have a wonderful new year, and we'll continue this into the new year. But again, we got one more part today, but, you know, just in case, because I'll forget, because I do that like, oh, tomorrow's this day, and then I record the stuff for that, and then 3 days later, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was okay, that happened. Like, whatever we record, honestly, I've already recorded the parts of other Otome games that are going up on Christmas, but I didn't realize they were going up, and now I'm like, oh, yeah, that was Christmas, that part that I recorded, okay. I'm like, you know what I mean? Just, I don't know. I don't usually look at my, like, calendar book. I had it open for this just to be like, okay, where are we? So I just happened to look over and notice, oh, hey, yeah, it's December. It's the, you know, whatever. But yeah, it'll probably take us through January and then, you know, whatever. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.